Hello everyone, this is the last part of tutorial about creating building system. We've made a lot of things, but one is still remains. And in many cases, in most cases, you will not have a plain landscape. You will have some hills, some holes and etc. And we should be able to validate our building so that it cannot be built on a cliff. For example, in such case when part of it is floating in the air, or if a part of a building is inside of the landscape. And now let's do that. Let's open a construction component here. And unfortunately, construction component doesn't have a construction script. So let's create our own function and call it on construct. And this function, for example, in my house, will be called from a construction script right after setuping building priorities. So let's call on construct. Now what we need to do, we need to provide our construction component with the positions from which we want to make line traces. We're gonna make line traces to the landscape and count the distance to the landscape. So let's open a folder where construction component is located. And create a new structure called, we don't need to create a new structure, we just need to have an array of, let's create a new variable in construction component and call it uh, landscape placement mm, landscape angle check locations. And it will be a vector and an array of vectors. Here on the construct function, we will get this array, loop through it, for each loop, and for each of them, we will just for debug reasons, not for the, we'll spawn, we'll uh, add component by class, add component by class, and it will be an arrow component. Relative transform will be this location, and we are adding it to an owner. Here it is. So now let's open my house, select a construction component, and add some locations. The reason why I've added on construct function is that now we will be able to see changes right after changing the variable here. So let's add one of them, and here's the arrow appeared, and it's, I don't know. Let's check. We need to change a relative rotation by y. So let's make it 90. Let's make it minus 90. So the arrow will look bottom. And this will be one position from which a trace will happen. And in my case, I need, for example, five. One for each angle and one in the middle of a building. Also, Yeah, it's fine. Okay, then let's open house back and add a new location. Change it x by, for example, 500. Too much. 400. 400 is fine. One more, minus 400. One more, and it will be 400. One more, minus 400. And now changing the y. 400. 400. Minus 400 is too far, so let's make it minus 350. Minus 350. And on y axis, it's too big number, so 350, 350. Okay then, and I need two more. So let's add them. It will be 350, 350. And y 350, 400, 400. And on y, it will be minus 350 and minus 350. Now, um, minus 400. Oh, minus 350 and minus 350. Here it is. I have an arrows. They will not be visible in game. They just created for me so that I can see. And that's all about on construct function. Now, uh, every time we change location of a building, we need to make a trace from this location. So let's create a new function, make landscape traces. Here we're getting all these locations and making for each loop. Also, let's create a new variable and call it something like max distance from landscape, and it will be float. By default it is 0. That's almost impossible to have 0, so I will make 50. No, 20. And now let's make a line trace by channel from this location as start, and end will be this plus um, minus 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 500. And we will make a sequence. No, we will not make a sequence. And trace channel is building channel. We know that only landscape blocks building channel. Now let's draw debug line. Here, if we've made a hit, then everything is great, but we will not make a hit if part of the building is under landscape. So if we haven't made a hit, we are doing next line trace with the same start. and and will be plus 500. So we're making one trace to the bottom and one trace above if on bottom we didn't hit anything. And here we are making a branch. And also we're drawing this line for debug. Now we need to know when we are making this trace. So on building component we have make trace, and if and set any building location. Now here on set building location, let's check. Let's get a current location of a building. Get actor location. If it has changed, maybe we should not do it here. Maybe we should do it here on the make trace right here. So let's do it here. And if location not equal exactly, if new location not equal exactly current location, then we're doing this. We are sending server to update location of a building and updating location on the owner. And after that, we should get a selected building, get its component by class, and it is construction component, and call function make, not make trace. We will call create a new function, validate landscape alignment function. And let's call this function validate landscape alignment. Now let me check how building is placed. Okay, um, here on validate landscape alignment, we will make a landscape traces. Landscape traces will return us an array of hit locations. So let's create in the make landscape traces new local variable called hit locations, and it will be an array of vectors. Now, if when on the line trace to bottom we've made a hit, then we're breaking a hit. And getting hit locations and adding a location. Here it is. Next, we are going to the second line trace and doing the same. If it was a hit, then we are breaking hit result and adding this location. And after for each loop completed, we are returning from a function and passing hit locations. Oh, no, location is not enough. We need to trace start, trace end, distance. We need to pass an array of distances and not hit, we don't need hit locations, by the way, they are not needed. So it will be an array of floats. So let's get hit locations and add a distance. And the same here. And return distances of type float. Now let's go back to validate landscape alignment. And here from distances, we getting we're getting max distance and checking if max distance is greater than max distance from landscapes that we've provided. If it is greater than can build is false. So if it is greater then we are checking if current can build is true. If current can build is true, then if max distance from landscape is greater than we're calling set can build and not this. Here it is. And if can build is false, then we do nothing. We don't need to make traces if can build is already false. So we can also do it here. We don't need to make conditional line traces if can build is false. So if can build is true, then we are validating an alignment. Now, no, in multiplayer, if one character will enter and block a building, uh, it will not work. So here is how it should look like. Now let's test it. I don't see line traces, by the way, and I don't see any line trace. Validate landscape alignment. Start, and am I calling this on make trace? I'm checking if detector location not equal. Mhm, mhm. Hmm. Let me print. Is it called? Yes, it is called, but I don't see any line traces. Maybe end vector is not correct. Where are they? Oh, I see where are they. They are located somewhere very far. So let's open a house and we are adding these components here, but they are not moved with the house. So on construct, we are getting these locations, and these locations are relative locations. I forgot about it, and we are making a trace in the world location. So what we need to convert these locations from local locations to world locations. Now let's do that. And to do that, we can use, let me move it a little bit. So I don't want to change this. I will make a new loop here, the same loop. And I will create a new local variable like local and traces locations. And it will be a vector of an array of vectors. And we will get it and add on completion, we will call next loop, and we will add a converted location. So to convert, we will call transform location, and we need to provide it with transform of an owner. Get owner world tran get actor transform. Here it is. And this will be a location in world space. Now we are adding it here in the loop body. And here we will loop through these locations. Now let's check if it works. Yeah, now this works. And let's see if we can build it somewhere here. Yes, we can, but no, we can't. We can't build it anywhere. I think that can build is false, but it doesn't update visual type of visual look of construction component. So we should call set can build function and not set it this way. So let's call set can build, and this one. And also I want to increase max distance from landscape from 20 to 50. Let's start. Yeah, now it works, but distances. But let me check what are the distances that it finds. And also I want to decrease the length of trace, mm, minus 500, and let's make it 500 here and minus 500 here. And now let's print a distance that we found here. Let's print um, if it can, no, we'll do it always and print max distance from array. 40, 50, 60, 100. Here it finds a very long distance, but looks like it makes trace from a very high location. Okay, by the way, it works, but I'm not sure that line traces are done correctly. So here it can be placed on plane surface, but everywhere here we're not able to place it. And let's check it again. Oh, it also breaks us. And here it can be built. If I move it up, it can be built. If I move it down, it can be built. Now let's fix this issue that this set can build is ignoring can build from overlapping other components. So how should we do that? Is where when we're overlapping something, where setting can build to false, and here where setting can build to true. Okay, I am checking here overlapped actors count, and let's do it this way. And if overlapped, so not, and overlapped actors count. Now let's check it again. Also, let me disable line traces, and I will also increase distance from a landscape a little from 50 to 65. And selecting small house, moving it up, down here, and here it can be placed. And yeah, why not? It can be placed here, for example, because I moved it a little to the bottom, and now I think I will leave 50, and that's how it works. Thanks for watching. If you wanna hear about something else, feel free to write in comments.